Welcome to my online studio. I'm Ashley, and I want to introduce myself and tell you just a few minutes of what got me into Pilates, why I'm here, and why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm an 80s kid. I grew up in the gym with my dad and his brothers. My uncle was a professional powerlifter in the late 70s, early 80s. I often would be in that environment even as a little girl. So I was very comfortable around the gym. Grew up with our garage gym and our power rack that my dad would always be working out with, which is now in my studio. It's one of my favorite just because it's super nostalgic. So the gym life was very familiar and comfortable to me. I was playing sports. In the late 90s, I was at the university getting my kinesiology degree and playing volleyball. Volleyball career got cut short from shoulder injury and was having knee issues as well. So that was a bummer. I graduated, got my first job with Memorial Hermann Wellness Center, which is a huge wellness center in Houston, Texas. I was working on the fitness floor, doing assessments, beginning my training. I got certified in group fitness. So I was teaching all the high intensity, high impact classes, and I loved it. So our fitness director approached me one day and she said, I want you to get certified in Pilates. I had never heard of that word and I had no clue what she was talking about, but they wanted to start Pilates classes there at the Wellness Center and in Houston. There were no studios at that point yet. So I was like, cool. I started observing her. She was doing private sessions with like Akeem Olajuwon. So that was my first introduction to Pilates, watching this giant professional athlete attempt to do a roll up and do Pilates and really struggle through it. And he was sweating and it was weird. So I took her class for the first class and, I was constantly working out. I felt like I was in pretty good shape. And to my humble surprise, I couldn't even complete a roll up in her class. And it was a bit eye opening and embarrassing. And so I took my teacher manual home that I was beginning my certification, and I began to practice the mat Pilates exercises every day for the purpose of not embarrassing myself when I started teaching. Because as an instructor, I want to be able to do the exercise. So I began to practice every night. About a month later, my husband was like, hey, what are you doing? And he didn't really know what I was adding or doing. And he's like, whatever it is, you should keep doing it. It's looking great. So apparently even my body shape began to change at that point. Pilates helps to lift and lengthen where the spine becomes very compressed over time, and especially lifting weights. And I was doing the squats and the barbell and just putting the compression. The Pilates is helping to elongate the spine and get more mobility. So that was my first introduction on how it kind of influence and affect the form. So we had 3 reformers there. I began to practice teaching on the reformer and then self-practice. And to my surprise, I ended up rehabbing my shoulder from the volleyball injury that at the time had required surgery. I chose not to get the surgery just because quite a few of our athletes had gotten it and didn't have very good success in recovering. So I just decided to live with my limitations at that point. And all of a sudden, I'm finding myself with a lot better range of motion, more stability, and less pain in my shoulder. It was that moment that really got my attention. And I was like, what is this? So here I am in the teacher training certification and beginning to have my mind blown on the benefits. So I kind of learned along the way getting the benefits on my own. At that point, rehabbing my shoulder, the inflammation of my knees improved. I had tendonitis in the elbow. All of this really improved and got better. And I remember telling my husband, I won't always just do Pilates because, in all honesty, at the time, it seemed kind of boring. I liked the hyper exercise and, the sweat and pushing a little bit harder in that aspect. But I was like, I'll definitely do this myself the whole time I'm alive. Like every day that I'm alive, I want to be doing some type of the Pilates because it is so restorative to the body. Over time, I ended up becoming stronger than I was even when I was playing volleyball in college. And we were being pushed and we were in the gym and we were on the court constantly. But all of a sudden, now I'm improving my flexibility and my mobility and my core strength, and the glutes are firing better. My ankles have better mobility and strength and just awareness all through there. My scapula can move now. Like I had no idea how locked I was. My rib cage was locked, the scapula is locked, and that's why I ended up with shoulder injuries. The Pilates really changed my life. My son is running around, he's about 2 years old, and I'm noticing his ankles pronating. Like he's hypermobile and his joints are all over the place. And he's a super active kid. I started making him do some Pilates. He didn't know it at the time, but just to strengthen the joints and bring awareness into stabilizing. Throughout his high school, he was doing jujitsu and all sorts of activity to where the hypermobility became a strength to him, and he never pushed beyond to the point of injury, which I was very happy for. He promised he wouldn't, but it really it was another example of showing how the Pilates set him up for success. And he was a better athlete. And now he's going on to do really tough, challenging physical things with his job. And he still goes back to Pilates for rehab, mobility, the strength, the joint stabilizers, and just connecting the whole body as one unit. So now I have my beautiful online studio. I teach Pilates classes. I'm adding more strength training. So it's all equipment that you can use at home that is easily to get your hands on. I have my reformer over here. I've got my Pilates Cadillac, and I do online training with those as well. That's a little introduction as to why I have chosen Pilates and why I'm here. I want to be able to spread the love and get as many people feeling strong and good in their bodies and having wonderful experience like I did. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, you can reach out. I'd love for you to try out the free class. I will put the link below and see what you think. We use small props to support the body and to add resistance or difficulty. That's what the large Pilates equipment does. The springs are either supporting, helping with form, and then you can also use it to make it a lot more challenging. So that is how we're using the small props. We also have some classes that utilize no equipment. That's all. I'm going to stop talking now. I'm going to get to teaching. I hope you come and join. Thank you.